Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. So yesterday I did a video of 30 or so of my favorite Rolling Stones greatest hits compilation albums and got a pretty good response in one day. And one of my viewers, a guy named Jack, said, "Hey Alan, how about doing a video of your favorite Rolling Stones live albums, officially released live albums, not bootlegs?" I'm like, "Jack, cool idea." He sent me that request a few hours ago. Here I am. One great thing about having a channel that's not so big, I could knock these videos out pretty quick because I'm pure passion, no scripting. Just take the stuff out and tell you my thoughts because I know these albums really well. So without further ado, let's do Rolling Stones' favorite live albums. There is a lot of Rolling Stones live albums. To me, there's about 11 that are the major official released live albums, and then there's a whole bunch of archive stuff, and I got just about all of them, most of them. So let's dig into it. I'm going to start with the main ones, the official ones, and then I'll start digging into some of the archive stuff. But I think you'll find it interesting, and then I'll rank them at the end. If you're new to the Stones or you're not sure what live albums to get, I'll go through those in depth. Now, if you're a live album fan like I am, I love live albums. I have two videos. I have a video where I rank my 16 favorite live albums by anybody. It's a really good video, I think. And then there's another video I rank like 17 through like 45. And you'll see some really great live albums that you may have forgotten, not familiar with. So I definitely recommend checking out those videos. All right, let's start with the Rolling Stones. Now, I know it's going to be annoying. I'm going to be going back and forth because there's, 40, 50 live albums here. So I'm using my couch and some tables as a backdrop. I know it's real classy, but let's go. And I'll probably knock stuff over as you just saw. So the Rolling Stones' first live album was around 60. Well, actually, this was the first one. This is an EP, and it was a couple songs on vinyl. This is a officially released CD version of it from one of the box sets, and this is called "Got Live If You Want It." This is not the album. This is an EP, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 songs recorded live in London. And it is live. You want to hear what the Stones sounded like back then? Pretty cool. And it's raw, but you can see what a powerful band they are. Then they released this live album called "Got Live If You Want It." Different than this one. And there's the track listing. And this is pretty controversial live record in the sense that back then, is it really live? Well, clearly some of it's not. I've Been Loving You Too Long is clearly a studio recording with audience dubbed onto it. But some of it definitely is live. And it's pretty exciting for an original live album from, whenever this was, 66 or something like that. It's pretty good. This is the vinyl version. Because you could only fit so much on vinyl, some of it's clipped. The opening introduction, I think, if memory serves, it's like Bill Wyman, and then it goes into it. It's clearly missing the full introduction, and some of it's definitely like edited. When they released it later on CD, here was the original CD digitally remastered. They improved on it greatly, and then when they released this version on SACD DSD, it's a lot better. It's got the full introduction, and for what it is, it works. It's a lot better than like the Kinks live album. There's a Kinks live album from around the same time period. It's all the Screaming Girls, and this is the Screaming Girls. But this is listenable. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it's listenable. Let's keep going. 1969, the Stones are touring with Mick Taylor on the guitar. After Let It Bleed comes out, and they released what I believe, in my opinion, is the second greatest live album of all time. Get Your Yayas Out. Here it is on SACD DSD. Beautiful remastering job. This is an incredible, incredible live album. Again, my pick as the second greatest live album of all time. If you want to know what the number one is, check out my video. But here it is, the original vinyl as well. Recorded live at Madison Square Garden. Look at that track listing. Mick Taylor on lead guitar. This is an extraordinary live album. This is everything you would want on a live album. The dialogue is great. You know, Mick is in between the songs thinking, busted button on my trousers, hope my trousers don't fall down. You don't want my trousers to fall down now, do you? Before Honky Tonk Women, Charlie's good tonight, ain't he? Goes into Street Fighting Man. We're going to do one more and then we're going to go. You really feel like you're at this live concert. The Stones are at their best. They're untouchable. There's no band better at this point than the Rolling Stones, and you hear it on this live album. It's amazing. They released the anniversary edition box set many years later. It's pretty much the same album, but then they give you a second CD of 5 extra cuts that didn't make the live album, and then the opening acts of B.B. King and Ike and Tina Turner. It's awesome, but no touching this original one. The Stones' performance is so great that it actually takes away from some of their studio records, in my opinion. I mean, you look at the track listing here, and, you know, like, I prefer Straight Cat Blues on this than on Beggar's Banquet. You know, Live With Me is amazing on this versus the sax solo. On Let It Bleed here, you got blistering guitar work. I even think I prefer Street Fighting Man on here. It's just electric. It's amazing. And, of course, Midnight Rambler. You can't even listen to the studio version on Let It Bleed after listening to this version, which is why it's on Hot Rocks. Right there, second greatest live album of all time, in my opinion, and certainly the best Stones live record, Get Your Eyes Out, from Madison Square Garden in '69. Tough for them to top that. So they waited until 1977, Ronnie Wood's in the band, and they released this double live record called Love You Live. Here was the In the Gatefold. This is the original vinyl release, and I love this album. I'm a little biased because I saw them for the first time on 75 tour, and this is kind of the 75 tour. Of course, it was recorded in 76, but pretty similar stuff. And it's a fun. To me, this is the most fun live album the Stones ever released. I still listen to this day. I've never gotten tired of it. Side 3 is the Mocambo side, which we're going to talk about in a little bit later on. But the only problem with this live album, I think, is the beginning of side 4. It's only Rock and Roll, Brown Sugar, and Jumpin' Jack Flash especially. It just kind of a little bit campy. Jack's vocals are a little bit off. But the rest of it, side 1, side 2 were great. And Sympathy to the Devil is great. And what I kind of talk about on the El Mocambo release, we're going to talk about. But Ronnie Wood came in '75 as a guest soloist. You know, he wasn't officially in the band. And he had something to prove after, you know, replacing Mick Taylor. He did it. This is the best lead guitar work I've ever heard Ronnie Wood play with the Stones. And if you don't believe me, check out the guitar solo, and you can't always get what you want on side 2. But this is a pretty blistering live record from the Stones. 1977's Love You Live. The 81 tour, huge tour, big stadium tour that the Stones did. And playing really long sets, a little bit tighter than the 75 tour. And they decided to release a single studio record, a single live record called Still Life. Yeah, Jagger was wearing a football outfit, a lot of day glow kind of stuff. And there's the track listing. And I was really disappointed with this live album. It's fine for what it is. It's just that if you saw that tour, and they did a movie on it, Let's Spend the Night Together. But if you were at that tour, you just don't feel the immensity and the greatness of what it was by listening to this album. This is a cool version, by the way. This has a picture disc. Thought maybe some of you people would get a kick out of it. Here's the picture disc of Still Life. So it's not a bad album. The performances are fine. It's just not a great live album, and it could have been so much better. And actually, when I had a lot of bootlegs from the '81 tour. And now the Stones have done archive stuff from it. And you can see, you know, a lot of the best stuff is not on here. Here's the CD version. One thing I really did like about this album, the single was Going to a Go-Go. And it's really good. It was a good choice of a single. It was a good song in the concert. They did that with 20 Flight Rock. So that was a good touch. Let's keep going. So after that, that was 81 tour, and they put that out in 82. Similar kind of situation. 89, they get back. 89, they get back with Steel Wheels, and they release Flashpoint as a live record. And this is a good live record for somebody who's not a big Stones fan. Here's where they start releasing, the classic songs again. Some of the stuff from Steel Wheel, Sad, 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 Rockin' a Hard Place is on here. Ruby Tuesday was great. That was a newie at the time. They hadn't played that forever. Little Red Rooster with Eric Clapton was great. But overall, it's a lot of the classics again. And the thing was, this was an extraordinary tour. You could see it in Rolling Stones at the Max. The Steel Wheels tour they sounded completely different, really professional, really tight. And they played some great stuff. And they released a lot of that live stuff as B-sides, but it's not here. For me, this is a really good live record if you're not a big Stones fan. But if you're a big Stones fan like me, you just didn't really listen to it very often. 1994, they do Voodoo Lounge, another huge tour. Good record to tour for it. They played a lot of the songs, but instead of just releasing another live record like that, they did something different. Unplugged was big at the time, and they did the Stripped album. And I thought this was an excellent, excellent album. Good mixture of live acoustic stuff in the studio, some live stuff from the club shows like the Paradiso, and they released Like a Rolling Stone as a single, and I thought that was a really great single. I still love when they play that live. This is a really, really fun mixture of a live album and live in the studio. Kind of the Stones Unplugged. They released some good singles from that. Here's the Like a Rolling Stone single, but they released like Black Limousine live and all down the line. You couldn't get on the album. Here's the Wild Horses single, and they released Live With Me, Tumbling Dice, and a great version of Gimme Shelter, which is not on the album either. Let's keep going. They do Bridges to Babylon. They tour that album, and then they put out a live record, and they wound up touring for that, and they did a live record called No Security. And I got a bunch of different versions of it. Here's a big one with an interview and a gatefold and stuff like that. And a whole bunch of stuff on this one. It's a cool version of it. And this is a Japanese import, and I'll show you that in a second. Here's the No Security album. I actually wound up seeing Bridges of Babylon. Then I saw the No Security tour. Went out to Vegas to see them, and it was a different set list. And I wish they would have done a live album from that, because they did some really cool stuff on the No Security tour. The first time they ever did Some Girls, the song, and Moonlight Mile. I Got the Blues. It's not on this album. But this was a cool idea. They wanted to release songs that were never on another live record. Not entirely true that Live With Me is on here. But the stuff that's on here is really, really good. This is really good performances. Gimme Shelter, some deep stuff. And the mark of a good live record is some of the live versions are better, way better than the studio versions. I'm not a fan of the song Saint of Me on Bridges to Babylon, but on here, it's really strong. And the European crowd singing it over and over. It's a cool touch. And Out of Control is just absolutely amazing on this album. Far superior than the Bridges version. I actually think Out of Control is like a latter-day Midnight Rambler. The Japanese import of this adds another song, which is I Just Want to Make Love to You, which you can't get on the regular version. That was a really good version, too. So, No Security is a good record. I like it. The only downside is this. Here's Memory Motel, and they do it as a duet with Dave Matthews. And I'm not a big Dave Matthews fan, and Memory Motel is one of my favorite Stones songs, and I wish they would have done it without him. Just my opinion. Out of Control, by the way, is an amazing live track, and you want to hear a great version of it. On the Out of Control single, there's a Don Was live remix. Ooh, smoking stuff from the Stones. They do the Licks tour, an amazing tour, very different from the Stones. They do club shows, they do arena shows and stadium shows, and completely different set lists. And they jumble that all together, and they throw this live album out called Live Licks, a 2 CD set. And this is where the live albums get a little bit weird, because they released great box sets of DVDs, and I'm only talking albums today, not the DVDs, because I got all the DVDs. But they kind of just dumped some of it from the videos onto this live record, and it's a shame, because it's a really good material on these 2 discs, but the sound's not great. It's just kind of weird, and it was Rocksoff, I believe, that's got one of the worst edits you ever hear in your life. I don't understand what they did with that. So it's just kind of a strange release. Even the order of it is just strange. It just reeks of laziness for some reason. The sound's not great. Performance is good. I mean, Angie's finally on a live record. The Nearest of You with Keith singing. I don't know. Like a missed opportunity. This, they do a live movie at the Beacon Theater. Martin Scorsese does it. And then they release a live record from that. And they do 2 different versions of it. It's called Shine a Light. There's a single disc version of it. And there's a double disc version of it. And you get the whole soundtrack. Couple of good duets on there. Jack White's on Loving Cup. Buddy Guy. And Christina Aguilera kills it with Live With Me. But the fact of the matter is, I thought this was kind of a courageous live album. When you listen to this live album, it really does sound like the Stones live without any kind of edits. I'm sure there are some. But it's a sloppy, some of it's sloppy, which is what you want in the Stones. But I don't know. It's got a good set list. As Tears Go By. Amazing. Some Girls finally makes a live version. You got the Silva. She Was Hot. Really cool to hear that live. Loving Cup. Just my imagination. But for some reason, I just never really play this live album that much. It's pretty raw. Shine a Light. And then 2 more officially released ones, I'm going to say, as far as their regular live records go. They finally released a live version of Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. Mick Taylor with the band back in 1972 at their prime, along with the 69 tour. They released the movie on DVD, and it was a great concert, and it's a good job on the DVD. They released this CD, and it sounds like shit. It's the worst sounding Stones live album ever, and it's a heartbreaker because it's an amazing performance, great set list, great film of it, but yet on the album, it just sounds flat and dead. The most disappointing live release right there, Ladies and Gentlemen, Rolling Stones. And then, I guess it was last year, they finally released, to me, the holy grail of live records, El Mocambo 77. And this takes Love You Live to even a better level. This, to me, was the holy grail. It's a great performance, legendary performance at the El Mocambo. I have a video where I review this in depth. But what makes this really special, besides the fact that it's a killer performance in a bar, and Ronnie Wood is smoking like he is on Love You Live, but check out the set list. You know, when you're a big Stones fan like me, there's only so many times you need to hear Jumpin' Jack Flash and Brown Sugar and those songs. Here, you hear all of these deep cuts from Black and Blue, Hand of Fate, Route 66, Fool to Cry, Crazy Mama, Dance Little Sister, Cracking Up, which made it onto, sorry about that, Barker, made it on to Love You Live, Star Star. This is just a tremendous, tremendous live record. Hot Stuff is killer on here. This is a go-to Rolling Stones live album, El Mocambo, 1977. Now, besides all of those, there's still a ton back here, and I know this video is getting long. So let me quickly go through some of these other archive ones. Why is the Gurr Giant box set here? Because buried in this box set is this 45 on vinyl. And this, sorry about the barking, guys. This 45 has 4 songs from the BBC Live, which are amazing, especially Cops and Robbers. And Cops and Robbers is incredible. Not worth this giant box alone, but have it on bootleg. But it was nice that they finally released that. Another one, if you go to the Goat's Head Soup giant box release, they finally officially released one of the greatest Stones live albums of all time. I had it as a download. I had it on bootleg for years. In fact, I still think the bootleg is better than the official release, but here it is, the Brussels Affair 73. I'm a sucker for Goat's Head Soup. It's the 72 tour with Goat's Head Soup added, and this is an amazing, amazing live record from the Rolling Stones. It's definitely in the top 3 or top 4. A Brussels Affair from 73. You can officially get the hard copy of it in the giant box of Goat's Head Soup. But it was officially a download, which is where I bought this from. Okay, we'll keep going. In the gigantic box of Tattoo You, if you went for this one, they released a live concert of, that's the vinyl right there. They released a vinyl live album from Leeds, Wembley Stadium, Still Life 1 and 2. Not essential, but you know, it was nice. Another live show from '82. One of the cool things about that was it had Chantilly lace. Remember they do on Still Life, they do 20 Flight Rock into Go Into a Go-Go. They also sometimes did Chantilly lace. Not the greatest song and not the greatest performance, but if you wanted, it was there. Here's another one. Rolling Stones, Hyde Park Live. Originally, this was also a download. And this is a beautiful box set of it on 2 CDs and a DVD of the whole concert, and then a DVD of the original Hyde Park show in '69, which was kind of fun. You start getting into the same set list over and over again, so it gets less interesting to me, but always a solid performance. This one had Doom and Gloom live, but the highlight for me on this one, as far as being unique, is the first live version of Emotional Rescue. Kind of one of the most unique Stones songs in the Stones catalog, and I thought they pulled it off really well. This is one of the best box sets ever. I have a video just on this box, but it's 3 DVDs. This is the strip that I showed you, but this is totally stripped. And this has the concerts from the clubs, the Paradiso, the Olympia, and the Brixton Academy. Amazing set list. They threw a CD in here, which is why I'm showing it. But the CD is good, but I think it could have been a lot better. Instead of some of more of the deeper cuts, they kind of went with a lot of the classics over and over again. But it's a good release. Great release for the DVDs of those concerts. Similar, this is the Charlie Is My Darling movie. Why the hell am I showing you this? Well, in this big box is a pretty special live album. Kind of like that Got Live if you want it. Here's a real live version of the Rolling Stones from England in 1965. And they put it on CD and a little LP as well. So, worth seeing for that alone. Right there. So you want to hear the Stones live, 65, before Satisfaction? There it is. Pretty cool stuff buried in this big box. All right. We're getting there, guys. Let's do these. These are a little bit of an exception, but not really. The Stones finally released the Some Girls Live in 1978, live in Texas. This is a DVD and a CD. The 78 tour is really interesting. I got tons of bootlegs. Some of the Stones performances in 78 were amazing. Out on Bail's a classic bootleg from the Capitol Theater. That's a killer show. Some of the performances in 78 were not that good, overly campy. So that tour really wavers in quality, in my opinion, for sure. But when they were really on. And punk rock influenced them. They're really punky. They played a short set. They played virtually the whole Some Girls Live album live on that tour. And this is the set list from Live in Texas, and it's on CD. This is a blistering performance. If you want to hear the Stones in 78, really, no backup singers, just the band really roaring it out there. This is a great performance, actually. That's a cool one. Another one on DVD, not as essential. This is Muddy Waters with the Rolling Stones, jamming with them at the Checkerboard Lounge. And again, it's on CD and DVD, and it's fun. Not essential, but it's pretty good. These are really cool. They're kind of like live albums because they're BBC performances, and there's some live stuff on here before as well. You got 2 versions. You got a single version and a double version. Some really cool things on here. Is it really a live album? Well, sort of. Same with this. The Rock and Roll Circus, of course, is the TV show. But it's kind of a live album, right? The Stones are playing live on there. And they're not the highlight of the show, I guess, which is maybe why they didn't want to officially release it. But their performance is still pretty good. Jumpin' Jack Flash, Parachute Women, Their Expectations. Really cool. Sympathy for the Devil. There you go. Rock and Roll Circus from the Stones. What else do we got? Some other hidden gems. that you may have found. This one I kind of showed. This was like a promo that was out. And this is called 50 Years of Rolling Stones. And this is a 2 CD compilation of live stuff consisting of stuff from Flashpoint, Still Life, live licks. They just kind of mix it up. And not essential, but kind of cool. When they released the deluxe edition of Sticky Fingers, this version's got some live stuff from the Roundhouse in 1971. Again, the Stones at their prime. Boy, they are blistering on this, and they're even more blistering on this. This was from the deluxe edition of Sticky Fingers. Get Your Leeds Lung Out. It's a classic bootleg, but they did release it in the Sticky Fingers box. And this is Leeds University, where the Who did live at Leeds. Well, the Stones did it in March 13th, 1971. And this is a killer live release from that box. For a while, the Stones were doing downloads, and I downloaded stuff and wound up burning them. So these are official releases at the time, and this was called Light the Fuse, and this was the Stones playing in a club before the Big Bang Tour, and pretty cool set list. I wish the Stones would release, whenever they tour, they do these club shows, and they play really cool set lists. And instead of releasing the same stuff over and over again, which we're about to talk about, I wish they would dig deep like that. All right, here's the archives. The Stones from the Vault. There's a ton of them. And I'll try to go through these fast. This was from the 75 tour. This was the download. Then they finally released it. I had this on bootleg video. I spent like $100 back in the day. And this is the Stones live in the LA Forum, 1975. You get a DVD and 2 CDs of the whole show from the 75 tour. Let's keep going. This is a really famous video show as well from the Hampton. This was the download, and here's the double disc release, DVD and 2 CDs. The whole show from the Hampton Coliseum. You know that show. Keith hits the guy in the head with the guitar. Great performance. When you hear this whole show, you kind of go back to Still Life, and you're like, yeah, you need more of it. Another one, the Marquee Club, live in 71. Nice to have it on DVD. It's more fun, I think, to watch than to listen to. Not a great performance from 71, but it's pretty good. It's got I Got the Blues, which is always nice to hear that live. The Steel Wheels Tour, of course, was 89. 90, they go over to Tokyo. They played there for the first time ever. This was the download. And here's the big official release live at the Tokyo Dome, Tokyo, and similar to the Steel Wheels Tour. But like I said about Flashpoint being disappointing, here you could see the full set list. And the full set list is just great. And this also has Almost Hear You Sigh, which is a great latter-day ballad from Steel Wheels. Nice to get a live version of that song. Back to the 82 tour. After that was the 81 tour with Tattoo You. They go to Europe in 82. Again, this is the Still Life show. Another show, here's the download from Roundhay Park, and here it is on DVD and 2 CDs, and there we go. There's 20 Flight Rock, Going to a Go-Go. Pretty standard set right there, but good stuff. Good stuff from that tour. Again, makes that Still Life album feel so incomplete. Some more. Here is Sticky Fingers, live at the Fonda. The only time the Stones ever went back and played a full album. And here it is on DVD and CD. But leave it to the Stones. They're going to play the full album. They don't play it in order. I don't know. Mick says the album's too mellow, so they had to change it up. I don't agree. I think Sticky Fingers is the best album ever made, but that's just me. This is a cool release, the No Security Tour that I was talking about. I actually saw this show in Vegas, and it was, if not the best Stones show I ever saw, it's way the hell up there, and just a really cool set list. You get it on DVD and on 2 CDs, and this one's got I Got the Blues, but there's Some Girls. It was the first time they ever played that. Route 66. This was a great tour, that No Security Tour. Sometimes they did I Got the Blues, and sometimes they did Moonlight Mile. Havana Moon, well, another latter-day great show, and this is the Stones in Havana, Cuba. Great documentary on that out there as well. And you can see the set list, and here it is, 2 CDs and a DVD, and Angie, Painted Black. You know, you start seeing similar set lists. The set list on the Voodoo Lounge tour was great. This was that famous show that was originally broadcast on cable, pay-per-view, and they finally released it. And you got Sheryl Crow as a guest, and Robert Cray, and Bo Diddley. Excellent concert. Voodoo Lounge Uncut. We're getting there, guys. Here's a couple more. And here's the Stones Atlantic City, another very famous pay-per-view. And the Stones are starting to release those pay-per-views. Here you have it on, this is a Blu-ray and 2 CDs. This is the famous show. You got Axl Rose and joining them. It's the only time they had ever played. There's a lot of like interesting tracks that they had never played, but Salt of the Earth with Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin, that was really, really cool. Boogie Chillin', you know, with Eric Clapton, John Lee Hooker, Little Red Rooster with Eric Clapton. Great show this was. That was originally that pay-per-view. Here's Bridges to Bremen. A lot of the latter-day shows get filmed, so they decided to put some of these out. They're all good. You get Anybody Seen My Baby on here, Memory Motel, which is amazing, so we finally get a version of that, and some bonus tracks as well. Another good, strong release from them. And then you got another Bridges show. Here's Bridges to Buenos Aires. And a lot of similar set lists here. A little bit different, but pretty similar. This one famous because Bob Dylan came out and did like a Rolling Stone with them. What am I missing? There's two recent archive ones. I didn't get the Copacabana one yet because I have it in the box set of the DVDs, and then they just want me to buy it again. And then they just released the Live Licks, which I also have from the original pay-per-view, but they make me buy it again. I'll get that as well. So there you go, the Rolling Stones Live. A lot of stuff in 32 minutes, but I hope you found it kind of interesting. So what is my choice for the greatest Stones live records? It's pretty easy. Number one, the best one ever, Get Your Eyes Out. It doesn't get any better than this. This is for your true Stones fans. Some deeper cuts. The performances are incredible. Great audience interaction. Jagger's speaking with the crowd is phenomenal. Really, really special record that I just love. I am also a sucker for Love You Live. I think it's a lot better than a lot of people think it is, minus some of the stuff on side 4. And you get the old Mocambo Club side, which was really, really special. Not so special anymore, because they finally released that on its own, and this is actually better now than Love You Live. It's different, actually. It's different. They're both really, really valid. But this is really fun, and Love You Live is fun. They're not to be taken as seriously as, let's say, Get Your Eyes Out. The other one that I would tell you to get for sure, but it's hard to get, is that Brussels Affair, because you could only get it in the Goat's Head Soup box, unfortunately. I wish the Stones would actually release that one. I have it in other places, but that's in here. This is essential, the Brussels Affair. So those are the Stones at their best live. I hope you enjoyed this. Put this together real quick. Sorry about all that dog barking before, but it's live, so what can I tell you? Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm going to post this tomorrow because it's Valentine's Day, and I'm sure nobody's going to watch it tonight if I post it. So, hope you're having a good Valentine's Day, and thanks for tuning in. Please hit subscribe if you're new. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit like. Check out my other videos. Like I said, if you like live albums, check out my 2. I do a video with my top 16 live albums of all time. Get Your Eyes Out is number 2. And then albums number 17 through 44 is another live video I did. Love You Live is actually in that one. So check those out. I think you'll find a lot of worthwhile stuff. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.